My name is Helen Wong. I study the gaps between how self-defense has been taught or shown to women and how we learn and how we actually behave in these situations. I made this video for Pineapple Life as well as for all of my yoga teachers and other yoga communities to show my respect for them. For this video, I have a focus to highlight several areas that I believe that they have been overlooked, but they're prerequisites. They are building blocks of everything else in self-defense. I will go over the when, what, how, and in the end, how you may want to integrate these techniques into your yoga practice or fitness training. There is another video that I've made that shows you gives you more context of my approach. So check that out as well if this one works for you. There is an important element that precedes anything that I'm going to show you. So in self-defense, the most important thing that precedes techniques and skills is a decision to act. It is your decision to take an action, knowing that any delays is going to cost you. And this decision determines your outcome. Because what might have been very simple, something that you can get out of easily, can become very complex and you might be stuck. So promise me that you will make that decision before I move on. The three areas that I would like to cover are response, balance, and power. I'll start with response. Response to any sort of touch in particular, right? Because a lot of our sexual assault situations begin with some sort of touch, even though it end up as a choke or hug lift. It begins with touch. So the soonest you respond to it is the soonest you can save yourself from further trouble, right? So speed matters. Right? We want to improve on the speed, and there are lots of exercises that that can help you improve the response time. But I would like you to think also on the flip side. What slows you down? What might be the factors that slow down that reaction time? A major example is any sort of interruption, in this sort of blockage of your senses. The most apparent one is vision, for sure. Right? I could be doing everything just fine, but if you blindfold me right now, I'm going to freeze, and that delays will become a lift. I'm being carried somewhere. The other one surfaces in this attack. Someone's from behind, just cover my mouth. Right? Very common. So this blocked my senses, right? I all of a sudden can't breathe. But this case is a pre-attack. It is so common that I don't understand why they're not in a lot of instructions, but I would like you to pay attention to. This is a pre-attack often. If it's not a pre-attack, it will be part of the attack. Why? Because they often want to shut you up. You're making too much noise. So it will be in different manners, right? In this situation that we can imagine. So there are two parts of it. One is dealing with, learn to deal with a shortage of breath, and that you can deliver the kind of action. And I have exercises towards the end of the video that you can try out. Two is the mechanics of getting out of it, which is what most of these techniques are about. And I can show you one. So in this case, when someone's covering my mouth, what I want you to do is to grab it. In fact, this is your natural reaction. You will grab it because it takes away all your attention, and all you want that moment is to get this off, right? So continue to do what you are doing anyway. But next, I want you to turn. I want you to use your hip and turn outside, but tightly. So what it does And what a lot of techniques do is to manipulate the body based on the limitations, right? In this case, my wrist cannot move beyond it, and you can spin yourself out. The reason why I say it has to be tight is because if I kind of step out and try to do the same, it is inviting him to actually help me even more. So you want to have it tight. You want to actually hold on to his hands and bend his wrist. So I do want to call out a couple of other solutions that are pretty common, common solutions to this kind of situations. Oftentimes you may hear people saying that you can loosen this guy up, or maybe step back or bend the elbow. Now, all of these solutions work in some way, right? Because they're mechanics, anatomy. But the reason why I would suggest this one versus the other is because this is your natural reaction. Because it takes away so much of your attention that I would bet you $1 million if I asked you to take one hand off and do something else, you will not. You will not. I want to add a special note with regard to skills like this, where you are required to grab someone's hand or arms and finish the rest of the steps. Based on my experience, a lot of women lack this grip strength. It was so loose no matter how hard I had them try, and this worries me because it might be an illusion that we can guide you through all the steps while in actuality you failed the first one. So if you can, begin by working on this finger strength. It is just as simple as tightening it up and relaxing. And this will help build your strength down the road. The other area is a big topic, balance. Everything is about balance. Balance is required for almost all attacks that you can think of. Why? Because it's almost always that you are defending yourself from an imbalanced position. So no one is going to attack you when you're so perfectly ready for a fight. It's likely that it's either what you are carrying with you or whatever distraction you have is setting you off balance to begin with, and your attacker spotted that and take that to their advantage. If not, it will be straight up any kind of push, pull, drag. Either way, you have to regain the balance before anything else. So the steps that I'm going to show you. I specifically picked this because this is something that you probably are very good at. Curtsy. So all these classes, when they show you curtsy, know that there's an application to it. Curtsy helps you stabilize yourself. Let me show you this. Normally, when people push you, you kind of fall a few steps, right? And then if it's from the side, you kind of drop, and you see people take a few steps to regain balance. But if you apply the curtsy way, I would like you to, let's say this person shuffle me, push me from the front. So what I want you to try is to take half a step, open the feet a little bit. So take half a step and slide the other step backwards. This drop is going to stabilize you even further. And you use your hind leg to spring yourself back up, or even a kick if you want to. So if I do it on the side, so it's like, oh, I'm off balance. So you want to take half a step and slide the other one up along the same line, roughly. And you can spring yourself back up. So practice it. Just drop and spring back up. The other thing that you can do is to turn your hip. Turn your hip allows you to run away. The same applies to the side. The side where this person just pushed me to the side. What I want you to do is take a half step and drop the other one. Okay. How wide and how narrow, it all depends how much you need to stabilize yourself. But this works so well for situations where you may have skirts and clothing that limits your mobility, because even just a little bit, it does stabilize you. Okay, so front, back, and okay, there's more dramatic one, right? When you are actually really off, like someone's either kind of choke you or kind of pull your hair, and you're kind of bending this position. Normally people just kind of drag with it. So here what you want to do is actually take a bigger step. Take a bigger step, so this is across and this will stabilize you, and you can turn it back. Last section, power. Power via strikes and kicks. When to use it with caution, and how. I put it at the end of the 3 because this is when I assume that you made a decision to respond, you regain your balance, and now you can consider striking and kicking if that situation applies. When to use it with caution. When you hesitate. When you hesitate, you throw something out there, you're risking giving them a free arm or free leg to catch. So therefore, retraction is something that is very important on top of thinking about anything about power. Retraction is the speed of you getting your arms back or your feet back. So anything you throw, any type of strike, you want to work on the retraction. Now notice, it is not muscle strength that gives us advantage. Almost never, because the attacker is likely going to be stronger. But there are lots of ways of dealing with it. Now this is where I would like you to check out my other video where I talked about other alternatives of strikes versus a normal straight punch. What are the ways that we can use as women to our advantage? Now let me give you another alternative here of power. This is the kind of power that I was very surprised and impressed by those women I work with, because within minutes they produce so much. This is a whipping power. A whipping power requires you to relax your arm, your body. So this looks like this, right? So your point of contact remains to be the knuckle, which is what a lot of punches hitting target it's to, right? The point of contact. But the advantage of whipping power is, or this whipping punch, is that it's a loop. So your retraction actually is built in. You naturally return a little bit back and you end with a fist. So again, is this. So you come back. So this way. This is a loop. This arm. If I have enough space. So regardless, you got the point. So this is the loop, and you hit with a slight bend with it in the wrist. So what scenario will this apply? I found this to work pretty well. Let's say you're at a desk job and you sit down like this, where there might be a creepy person coming behind you and land their hand on your shoulder, right? I'm not talking about shoulder tap, but this hand eventually glide down, right? So in this case, now before I talked about the actual strike, this is when earlier I talked about a grip always matters. So here you want to grip, you want to grab this hand, you twist and you yank down. So I'm gonna get off. Basically is once you feel the hand, you want to grab it, twist and yank. By yanking down, that head is going to drop near you. So if I were to play that person behind me, my body is kind of like that, right? I'm slipping my hand on her chest. And by you twisting and you yank me down, my head is going to pop close to me like this, right? And this is when you can do the whip. Because in this case, this is a harder punch to do so. But by pulling him down, you almost guarantee there's a target and you whip. So this applies to this case on the side, when you pull him down and you whip. So it's kind of coming down and like this. Right. So this is it. Try it out on a couch, on a pillow, and you would get that feel. And this is something that I found to be a bit more effective than to train women on any other type of strikes or punch. Next, kicks. Kick to the head, flying kicks, all those kicks, high kicks look very cool. Kicks do deliver 5 times more power than strikes. However, we aren't in a competition nor performance here. There's nothing for us to prove. We need something effective because our goal is to get out. Now, why would I say is less effective for high kicks? There's never a strong reason to deliver high kicks because anytime you deliver a very high kicks, you're losing balance. You're losing time. Remember, time costs us. So, and not to mention that you don't wear yoga pants all the time, right? So let's step back and think about fear. The fear of someone towers over us, right? Like that. One source of fear comes from the reach. I seem to have a disadvantage of my reach, and he seems to have an advantage of reach of my head and upper body. Yeah. But think about it. I have a faster reach to his hip. And the hip is what drops someone's posture. In this case, once I dropped him, he is now in the same height or similar height as me. Yeah? But one thing to note, the reason why the reaching the head or striking in the head or face might have become very natural for us to think about it, because this might come from us watching a lot of competitions and shows on media. But these situations, these competitions, they pair up people of the same height and size or similar height and size, right? So the method and context are completely different. So back to here. What I have in common with this guy, even though he's very tall, like even 7 feet, his ankles are always going to be on the ground, just like the rest of us. No one can avoid that. The shin. And the knees cannot be much higher. So my conclusion here is that low kicks are all you need in our situation. Most of our situations, low kicks are all you need. And I will go over those in the exercise section next. Several training exercises you can consider integrating into your fitness training or yoga practice even. They are relatively simple. So with regard to response, I mentioned the shortage of breath is super important. Training to reduce the time that you respond and react to a sudden blockage of air. So what you can try is apply it to your next cardio classes like sculpt, bar, etc. when you have to deliver a set of strikes or kicks. After several sets, let's say you're almost run out of breath, I would like you to exhale all the air out and deliver the exact same without breath. Now, don't kill yourself, but this action will help you. Will rewire your brain to know that you can still move with a shortage of breath. You may experience some drop in the quality of kicks and strikes, but that's not the point. The point is to get that reduction in that response time and get the feeling of that you can move given that constraints. So to add on to the balance part, I did show you the curtsy, the cross step, stabilization and all. But the other thing you can add on to it is to deliver the same sets of kicks or strike in an off-balance position. So watch how you what you will be carrying typically. Like if you may be carrying a bag on the left side, you are off this way. So try to mimic that position and having to deliver the same type of kicks and see how it feels, because this is likely how you may have to apply it. Another thing I tend to do is to wrap my arms around it, right, and do the same kind of kicks. So whatever creative ways that you can think of that also mimic a real situation will help you out. Now on power, I mentioned grip strength a lot, and you do want to train, and it's simple enough that you can do it anytime, right? Driving and whatnot. Train on this grip strength. To add on to it, you can consider fingers push up or fingers plank. Even if you can't do a short set or just throw a few seconds would be good enough. Kicks. The kicks I am showing you here focus on 3 targets: the ankle, the shin, and the knee. Start with the ankle strike. Ankle strike can begin from a bar position 1. And what you need to do, your hip is open, what you need to do is have a step in, lift the other leg up high, and focus on striking with the heel. Again, that's it, right? So to apply, this is all you need because it's on the ground. A shin kick or strike. This is somewhat very different, but this version that I'm showing you is much more damaging than using the ball of the foot. What I want you to focus on is using the toe to cut through at a 45-degree angle. So you're cutting someone's shin. Works much better if you are wearing pointy shoes. What it requires is basically just a little bounce action. Is unlike other type of kicks. So it's just this, right? So it's just this extension and a little bounce. So same starting position. You can start with this bar position 1. Take a half step in, but this time you want to point the toe to the ground and you extend. Come back. So how to apply? You cut into it. So this is harder to demo, but you cut into it. Knee strike. Knee strike can begin from a tree position. This is a good training starting point. Stand tall, open your hip, and begin as a warmed up, just turn with the heel. You want to keep the knee in the same position and you just want to turn the heel. So you are striking with the heel or the knife edge. So as you feel comfortable, you want to extend by locking the heel and your knee. So this is a straight line. The next step up to help with the power and prevent injury is to make sure this is in a straight line. So you want to push the hip and make sure your shoulder is back. So on the side, this look like this. So you're pushing that hip and make sure your shoulder, hip, and the feet are in alignment. So this kick work for knees when you lift a little higher, right? So you want to do higher and you kick with that, come back. But this also works on the ankle as well. So because all you need is just that turn. It's just, once you're comfortable with it, it's just that turn that can knock an ankle. So this is how you can knock an ankle, cut the shin, and blow that knee if you need to. I hope this yoga self-defense mix resonates with you and that it may expand your practice or increase your confidence in protecting yourself. Reach out if you have any questions, and I hope to get to practice with you someday. Thank you very much.